Welcome to From Betrayal to Breakthrough, and here's a mini dose of Dr. Debbie, where I'm sharing tips, suggestions, strategies, and sometimes just a little motivation to have you move past your betrayal once and for all. Hi there. So today I'm going to be talking about something that if you are in business, whether you're in business for yourself, you're working within a company, you're just out there in any way, I think this is going to really be relevant because I just spoke recently. I had two talks, and they were both for the business community. One was more of a corporate environment. One was more of business owners and entrepreneurs. And it's so interesting because at first you'd kind of think they were like, well, what in the world is someone who runs the PBT Post Betrayal Transformation Institute? Why is she speaking in a business capacity? And here's why. When you have an unhealed betrayal, even if it happened decades ago, it's affecting you in business. We know how it affects us in our relationships. We know how it affects us in our health, but it affects us in business too. I mean, think about it. If you've been betrayed, let's just take a recent betrayal. Trust is absolutely shattered. So if you don't trust the person you trusted the most, and then the next piece of this is, well, if I can't trust the person I trusted the most, how did I not see? How did I not know? I can't trust myself. So if I don't trust the person I trusted the most and I can't trust myself, well, how do I trust in that boss, that coworker, that collaborative partner? You see, also confidence gets shattered. So if you've lost your confidence, let's say you deserve that raise or promotion, but your confidence was shattered, so you don't have the confidence to ask. Or let's say, your part of your role in business is to be out there, network, and be at these different meetings and collaborate and all these things. Well, if your confidence is shattered or your self-worth is shattered, how are you showing up for those meetings? Think about this too. If your now self-worth is always something that's affected after betrayal. So now you're questioning your ability, you're questioning who you are, you're questioning your very sanity, right? So now think about it. How are you portraying if you're supposed to go out there with this big, powerful message, promoting your programs, your products, your services, your business, your brand, but you're questioning yourself, how are you showing up with promoting things? So you see how widespread this is. And here's just even more. Think about this mentally. And I want to share just some things that I shared during the talk. So mentally, you're unable to focus, right? So you can't be as productive, creative, or engaged. So whether this is you, or maybe you're managing a team, right? You're managing a team and you're noticing, wow, you know what? I'm losing that level of productivity that everybody, used to have, or that person who used to be so engaged is kind of checked out, or I just don't seem to just have the same results that I used to have. And we could think, okay, well, maybe it's just, we could blame it on anything, right? But what if we really took a look? And let's say you're managing a team and you thought, well, you know what? Maybe that person really is struggling with something that they're having a hard time with. And just because something happens outside of the office doesn't mean it doesn't come into the office. I'm not saying that this is a workplace betrayal, which happens as well. But, while some people have the ability just to say, okay, you know what? Game on, I'm going to work, I'm leaving this behind, I will revisit it at the end of my workday. When you're really deep in the betrayal, that's really hard to do. And I know this because we have so many people coming into the PBT Institute saying, I'm going to lose my job. I cannot hold it together. I can't focus. I can't think. I can't concentrate. And that was actually one of the reasons why we became women business owned, because we want to have the ability to go into all these companies that really want to service, that want to give contracts and things to minority owned business, women business owned things, just to bring PBT into these companies, because so often companies think, okay, well, if our employees are having a hard time, well, they could see a counselor. They could see a therapist. And while that's well and good, I talk about the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough. And if anything locks you into stage 3, like crazy glue, it's a well-meaning, I'm not saying they're not well-meaning, a well-meaning counselor or therapist who does not understand the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough, and that employee is feeling heard, validated, understood, they're not a centimeter closer to the next stage. So just be really careful of that. Anyway, emotionally, you're afraid to trust your employer, coworkers, partners, and more. Physically, let's talk about physically. When you're struggling with a betrayal, think about it. You're exhausted. You can't sleep. And if you do sleep, it's not a well-rested sleep, because we know it's hardest at night, right? At nighttime, all the things that you were able to keep, at a distance because you were distracted, or you were just busy and you were engaged in other different things, at night comes out in full force. So you're not sleeping well. And then you wake up, you're exhausted. It's likely your adrenals have tanked. And when that's the case too, now you have brain fog. So the same thing that would have come so easily to you, you just forget. And I've shared this story on on another episode. I don't remember which one. When I had deep, I mean, I really, I was exhausted, adrenal dysfunction. I mean, I was a mess. And I remember someone calling me up because they wanted me to speak. And they said, "Oh, you know what? I have another call coming in. Debbie, can I call you back?" And I go, "Wait, you know what? Hang on one second." And I put her on hold because I said, I couldn't for the life of me remember my phone number. I mean, I couldn't remember my phone number. I've shared how it was a friend's birthday and everybody, was meeting at this one restaurant that I had been to 50 times and passed right by it. Absolutely forgot where I was. These things happen. It's so common. So think about it. If you're exhausted, your ability to make decisions is off. You can't think straight. You're concentrating is just impossible. How are you showing up at work? So any kind of stress related issues, think about this too. When you're stressed, now you're also hyper vigilant. So your nervous system is completely dysregulated. So someone may come to you with something that when you're feeling okay, you can handle it, right? But now your nerves are on edge, and something that could have seemingly been a smaller thing to handle gets escalated, and you just don't have the resources that you had. Now think about this. Let's go back to if you're a business owner, if you're a manager managing people, and now think about the stress-related symptoms, illnesses, conditions, disease that people in your company have. And companies pay millions and millions of dollars each year. I don't have those numbers, but millions. I know it's in the millions for healthcare related symptoms, illnesses, conditions, diseases. Well, at the root of it so often is an unhealed betrayal. I mean, think about also what happens when you have, let's say, chronic unmanaged stress. And I'll just give you, just very common symptoms. So one is a digestive issue. I mean, we've had over 100,000 people take our post-betrayal syndrome quiz to see to what extent they're struggling. 45% of everyone betrayed has a gut issue. So think about let's say you're an employer and you're sending your person, your employee to a gut expert, and they're on this amazing protocol, right? But if at the root of it is an unhealed betrayal, you're just getting, you're hacking away at the leaves. You're not getting to the root, right? Sleep issues. So now someone can be taking all kinds of sleep aids and struggling with sleep, taking medication to help them sleep. Weight issues. That's really common. In the beginning, we can't hold food down. Later on, we're using food for comfort, right? Hormonal disruptions. I mean, you know how many people go into perimenopause, menopause, and it's because chronic unmanaged stress, which is just affecting the hormones. Anxiety. Think about all we do for anxiety. You could be on some sort of medication. You could be drinking. You could be doing whatever it is you're trying to do to manage your anxiety. Here's another one that we see all the time: accelerated aging. If I wish, and we really should start doing this, if people were to come into the PBT Institute, if I insisted that they take a picture of themselves right when they come in, because I'm telling you, someone coming in stage 2 and stage 3, the look when they get to stage 4 and stage 5, it's almost like they start aging backwards. It's accelerated aging when the stress response is high. And then it's like it reverses when they've managed that chronic stress. They've moved through their experience. They look different. And if you've been through this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I am not making that up. But I have a couple of things that I just put together, and I want to share this too, because these are just obvious things that maybe you don't notice, but I'm telling you, it's affecting you in your business. And I want you to know, whether you're, like I said, whether you're working within a company, whether you have your own business of any kind, you want to excel in it. You want to represent your product, your business, your brand effectively, powerfully. You want to be compensated for what you do, but your finances, your work, your everything is being affected by this betrayal. So, for example, here's a problem. This is the problem that you would see on the outside: indecision and overthinking. Right? How often is this where here you are, you have to make decisions in your business. Sometimes it's a few. If you're a solo business owner, you're making hundreds of day that need decisions that need to be made. But where's that indecision and overthinking coming from? It's coming from damaged self-trust, right? You had an ability to trust your decision making, to, you were able to discern, is this a good idea, is this not? I trust myself. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. And all of a sudden now, because we don't trust ourselves, self-trust absolutely gets shattered. It can be rebuilt, absolutely gets shattered in betrayal. But if not, that indecision, that overthinking is because of that damaged self-trust. So just think of, in your business or in your company, in your work, whatever it is you're doing, if you have an inability to make decisions or trust yourself in the decisions that you're making, think about how that's going to affect you. So what does healing do? What does moving through the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough do? It restores your confidence in your instincts, in your ability to make decisions. That's just decision making. Let's take on another one. Poor boundaries with team or clients. Right? Now, think about it. If you lack boundaries with your team, with your clients, you're going to be taking on so many things that you just would have said no to. Let's say if the boundaries were in place, and maybe because now you're completely in over your head, you're not giving it your best because you just don't have the capacity. Right? I mean, so you're taking on all these things to, in an effort to just make up for, maybe you don't want to say no, or you're feeling uncomfortable, or you're not feeling confident, and all these things. So you're lacking the boundaries. Well, where's that coming from? Fear of rejection post betrayal. Right? We're so often we're going to say yes to all these things because we want that contract, we want that job, we want that product program sold. So we may say things that we normally would say no to because we're just afraid. This is fear, or we're just absolutely taking on way more than we should and we're already so depleted, but it's that fear of rejection. And what happens when you heal? Well, you're teaching a strong, guilt-free boundaries. That's one of the things we teach. So this way, you're going to learn the boundaries you need to have in place so that you say yes to the right things, you say no to other things, and you're doing your work and doing it well. It's interesting because even at the second talk that I did, the business talk, someone asked a question, and I've gotten so comfortable, and this is through practice. That's it. It's never going to be entirely comfortable when you say no to someone, but we have to strengthen these muscles. And he asked me a question, and the truth is, I'm at a stage in my business where if it's not and I've never really taken on something I didn't know how to do. I'm pretty good at saying, you know what, I'll find that out and get back to you. But someone asked me a question and I kind of knew the answer, but it wasn't my wheelhouse. Like, it wasn't totally my wheelhouse. And I said that right on stage in front of everybody. And I think what it does is it shows that, first of all, we don't know everything. I mean, who does? And secondly, we have the confidence to be secure enough that I'm still good at what I do, but that doesn't mean I have to know everything there is to know. So I said that, and he totally appreciated my response. Okay. And if not, I would have had to live with that too. Okay. So here's another problem: micromanaging, you're not delegating. I mean, think about this. When you are micromanaging and you have to have your hands in every single aspect of your business, and this can be really hard, especially when it's your business. It's also, when you're representing a company or you're in a group or a team. But I can speak personally because I've been in my own business, and I know how many different lanes there are in every single aspect of business. And the micromanaging and the lack of delegation, what that does to a solo entrepreneur, solo business owner, I mean, that's a recipe for burnout for sure. Where does this come from? Could come from fear of being hurt again. And how healing helps? Well, it helps rebuild safe trust in others, where if someone is proving that they know this, then we can safely and confidently let go. And I remember one of my mentors saying, you want to delegate, not abdicate. So you're delegating, meaning there's somebody who's doing this that is proficient and they're good at this, but that doesn't mean you just never ever look at it again or ever check on it again. If it's your business, it's still your responsibility. So I really took that to heart, and I trust that my team, anyway, they know things. They're so much better at certain things than me, and this way I can trust in their area of expertise and back off. It's the same thing with our PBT coaches within the PBT Institute. I certify a good amount of coaches, and so many amazing ones are within the PBT Institute. And here's the truth: they are way better than me, especially in stages 2 and stage 3. My greatest strength and my zone of genius is definitely stages 4 and 5. When someone kind of comes out of that trauma and sees their potential and kind of recognizes, wow, you know what? This doesn't have to define me. That's where I come in. That's my absolute favorite place to come in and take that person to that new level of health, that new relationship, that new business, that new brand. But that's why I'm delegating to my PBT coaches within PBT because they are so much better than me at the earlier stages. So if I were micromanaging and I would be taking on all of it, I wouldn't be doing any of us a favor. Okay. The next one, holding back from visibility. I see this so often. And this, so where does this come from? Growth linked to past pain. So it could have been that maybe in your dynamic of your relationship, it was that if you were seen or acknowledged, that could have been a threat to your partner, and maybe they justified betrayal because of that somehow, let's just say, or just even, let's just take being the fear of being visible because you don't feel good about how you look, right? Maybe the betrayal took a toll on you and you don't like how your body feels and how your body looks. And so you don't want to be visible, or maybe you're not confident with your message, or maybe you just don't feel like you trust that when you're being visible, you're going to say, you're going to represent yourself the way you want to. So many of those things come up. And when you heal, clears the fear growth connection. Another one, reactive decisions, burnout. This is so common. We're so tired, and so often we just shoot out an answer because we just didn't take the time to think about it because we were burned out. We're exhausted. But what would happen if you took the time? And this is still, the root cause of this nervous system is still on alert. So when you heal, well, you're moving out of survival mode. You're regulating your nervous system. You're getting your nervous system back online. And this way you don't burn yourself out and you don't make reactive decisions. Because think about it, just those two reactive decisions could put your business and your job in jeopardy. Burnout, you're of no use to anybody because now you've hit a wall, and I've been there. And that's when you may have all the intentions of doing something, but your body and mind is like, I'm done. I'm just done. So you can have all the intentions you want. I'm done. We're not doing anything. So think about that. If you're counting on your ability to be out there, get the work done, do the thing, but you're burned out, you can't show up. You just can't show up the way you need to. And one more. Oh, I see this so often. Undercharging and people pleasing. This is, I mean, think about this, loss of self-worth. This is because of betrayal, right? We have such a lack of confidence in our skills, in our abilities. And then when we've been betrayed, that just sort of confirms it. Or maybe we were feeling pretty confident about our ability and our worth and what we can charge. And then all of a sudden now you're betrayed and you're like, uh-oh, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I shouldn't, expect this and that. It damages and destroys self-worth, self-esteem. So how healing helps it? Well, you rebuild your self-worth and the ability to ask for what you deserve. And I know when you're kind of new at this, you may be thinking, oh my gosh, how in the world do I charge for what I do? Well, you deserve to be compensated for what you do. And this is just something I've done in my 33 years worth of business, and it has always helped me. So maybe it helps you. I always undercharge. And what I do is I have to justify it just to make me feel better. So when I'm creating a program, I keep adding things and adding things and adding things until I say they've got to be crazy not to buy this. And that's what does it for me. So like, for example, with our Reclaim program, our most popular program, it's 3 months. I mean, when I tell people what's in this, 2 sessions a month with PBT coaches, our signature program, plus we have tons of other programs as well, live daily classes with all of our certified PBT coaches, open Q&A with me, group coaching with me, master classes with the most amazing experts, 3 months, $997. Now, you can go to one therapy session, and you can keep going to your therapy sessions and feeling heard, validated, understood. You're not any closer. If they don't understand betrayal, you're not any closer to the next stage. But imagine a curated community of everything that the research proved will move you through the stages all under one roof, right? That's the PBT Institute. Even our certification program, I hear so often, that's it, and I'm so undercharging. Well, I'm doing that purposefully because I want the 5 stages in everybody's hands: coaches, counselors, therapists, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists. It just needs to get out there. So just to wrap this up, I want you to just be so aware of what a shattering of betrayal and that shattering of trust, how it's affecting you in your business, in your ability to show up powerfully and effectively, representing your business, your brand, your products, your services, putting yourself out there the way you need to, showing up the way you need to, making the money you deserve, right? All of it. So I hope this resonated, and I would love you to just take a moment and say, where has this betrayal affected me in my work, in my business? And you can't change what you're not aware of. So hopefully you became very aware by some of the things I shared today. So take that, decide what you want to do about it. Hopefully you'll join us within the PBT Institute so we can get you to your physical, mental, and emotional best, your personal and professional best. That's all we do all day long. You deserve to rebuild your health, your confidence, your worthiness, your ability to show up the way you want to, so that you can make the money you're here to make, you can have the impact that you want to make, and do so much more. I hope that helps. I'll see you next time. You need the right tools, support, and the right community to move you through the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough. And we have all of that within the PBT Institute. So join us at the PBT, as in post-betrayal transformation, thepbtinstitute.com. There's a version of you who's so confident, healthy, peaceful, and happy on the other side of your healing, and we can't wait to help you get there. We got you. Thanks for listening, and here's to your breakthrough.